So here we have the maps. There are several different maps in Tarkov. So the one that you'll cover the most is in customs. You'll notice here that there's a time limit for the match, for the session. This generally tells you how hard it is. That doesn't really, it doesn't mean a whole lot. And it says that there are 7 to 12 PMCs max on the map. You can choose your time here. So this would be late at night, meaning that'd be dark. And so it'd be hard to see if you don't have a light or night vision. We're going to choose during the day because I haven't brought either of those. So out of all the maps, the lab is kind of special because you're not allowed to insure on the map, meaning that if you insure any of your items and you lose them, even though they're insured, you will never get them back. Customs is one of the most basic maps. It's a lot of the early missions are run on customs. It's a decent mix of indoor and outdoor. Interchange is a giant mall. You start on the outside of the giant mall and then work your way in. So it's very dangerous coming in, coming out, but it's got a lot of great gear. Woods is a great level for starters. It's a lot of open, flat space, but it's also filled with trees, and it's very easy to figure out where you're going by just staying along the wall. Factory is a very small level. It's very enclosed. And so it's easy to learn. You'll get into a fight quickly. There's not that many PMCs that play in it. The great thing about Factory is if you have a short amount of time, this is a great one to check out. It's also got a decent amount of gear in a small space, but it doesn't have a large amount of gear compared to some of the other maps. Reserve is another map very similar to Customs. One of the things that's interesting about Reserve is that there are certain places where in order to extract you have to press a button and then run over to the extraction point in a certain amount of time. And then Shoreline is kind of a mix of woods and customs. There's a lot of outdoor mixed with a lot of indoor spaces. All right, I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of customs today to give you an idea of what customs looks like. I'm going to take some of my better gear because we're going to do this in offline mode, and I won't be worried about what I am carrying. So the first thing I need to figure out is where I started. I can see that ZB1001011 is where I need to end up. That means that where I'm supposed to extract is at the bunker, which tells me that I am on the west side of the map, sometimes also called the custom side of the map. So if I want to get out, I need to go to the east side of the map. So I'm actually at the very bottom left corner of the map right here. This area directly in front of me is sometimes called the customs area. It's always good to check out bus seats for keys. So if I look over here, this is where the trailer park is. You can see why it's called the trailer park. So one of the things to note is along this customs area, there are a lot of different places to get in. So you can see there's a blown out wall here, and so I can get in there. Another thing that's interesting about the game is that there are a lot of kind of secret parkour areas where you have to sort of know your way onto it. And if I can do it just right, now I'm on top of the building. If I had a sniper rifle, there's a couple of decent shots that I could take from here. And again, it's just one of these little things that the game does after you've played it for a while or seen someone else play it, you learn that there are different advantages that you can have if you know the map well. So one of the first things I'm going to do is going to go over to the car on the east side of customs, and I'm going to check it for meds. Good if you're going to be out for a while. Now this one's not really a secret, most people know, and one of the things that if you hear someone over here, you can take a shot, get up here, poke your head out, come back down. So you also have to be careful when you come over. If you're making a bunch of noise through here, like I am right now, people will know on the other side that you're there, and if they pop up right now and take a shot at you, you're going to be in trouble. Another interesting little secret, as I pop this open and I look in this bag, I may actually be worried about whether or not there's someone on my left, so as I press search, I'm going to turn left. And now I can actually see if someone's popping their head as I continue to search. So I'm going to hit Control-click to grab some of this stuff. So a lot of meds you get out of this bag, as you can see. So one of the things to look for over here, just west of the trailer park, instead of this bus, like I said, buses will tend to have keys on them. No sign of a key here, but the East 310 key will spawn over here. That is used for a quest in the shoreline. And it's one of the interesting things about Tarkov in that you may have to go back to an earlier map in order to gain access to a specific spot on a later map. It has sort of a Metroidvania feel in that way. Alright, so up here is the customs area. So climb up here, and as you can see, makes a lot of noise, especially if you're running. It's very loud. You need the customs key. Usually the customs key will be found someplace. There's a way to barter it for gold chains. You can see I can't get in here, so I can try breaching, and all breaching does is make a whole lot of noise. There's actually no way to get in here. There used to be evidently a mechanic where you can choose to breach a closed door versus kicking it, and all breaching does now is tell everyone that you don't have the key and you've done something dumb. Anyway, the reason when you want to get up there is there's a bunch of useful gear up there, including a key spawn needed for the shoreline map later. That is one way to get out of there quickly. It's not necessarily the easy way. It's kind of hard to line up. And then this gives you a little bit of cover as you come out over here. One thing to point out about Tarkov is that they'll have a lot of these places where it looks like you can get in or climb or whatever, and you can't actually do that. Ladders generally don't do anything, unlike many other games. There are a lot of doors that are closed that look like you can open them and you can't actually open them. I call those Silent Hill doors. So I'm going to show you what the breach mechanic looks like if you have an unlocked door. All it really does is make a whole lot of noise. So this is a weapon cache. Oh yeah, PP91, not bad. Oh, that's... I don't think that goes my PP91, does it? So the thing I'm going to point out here is there are a couple of ways to cross from the west side of the map to the east side of the map. So there's a little land bridge over here that goes over to where that wall is. You can't get to the other side of it. That is one good way to cross. It's less noisy than the way that I'm about to show you. So there's this little bridge over here, and this bridge is super noisy, especially if you are running across it, so people will definitely hear you coming. And then there's this, where most people actually go, because it's got a lot of cover. Great for combat. There's usually a scab at the end of this bridge, and a lot of times you will have people sniping down the edge of this bridge as people come through. So you just have to be aware that this is a potentially dangerous place for you to go. So you won't be able to see it today. Oh yeah, that's interesting. So I cannot take that extraction, but it is open, so that's called Smuggler's Boat. So if I were playing the game with someone else, I would know that someone else could take that boat as an extraction, and if I wanted to test the odds and see if someone's going to show up there. I could camp that out, or just generally keep eyes on it in case I wanted to get someone. So this guy is always there. He's just called the dead scav, and he has a key on him called the unknown key. We'll see, hopefully. Anyway, if you just happen to be back here, it's a good place to go. Nice little secret, great place to get that key. And then we're going to go, actually, so there is a bag back here. Usually I'd loot it. Generally, this is not a great place to go because you can get hemmed in. Coming through here in construction, usually, especially early on, there's a dude, a scav, that sits up there and he'll take pot shots at you. So I forgot to mention one of the things that is cool about this area, different as well, is this tower area. There's not a lot of verticality in Tarkov generally. There are some special maps that have it. This map is relatively flat, but there's this area over here, and you know, you can just peek out here. You'll see the scav kind of stick his entire head up there and can be shot down. If you see someone down here doing this, you know that is a player of some sort, not an AI. Here's a cool little ramp that you can get out here. Oh, I get hit, and there's usually a scav right down here. So over here we can see the dorms. This little area where you have to jump, and then you have to crouch, and then you have to walk in, stand again. If you check these keys, this is where you'll find the key to get into the truck. That gives you the gold watch. Crouch, come around. So I don't have the keys to any of these. So this is an exit you can get out sometimes. I don't have it right now. You have to give some rubles to the car. I think it's 3,000. It takes like 30 seconds, and then you're allowed to extract after that. I think usually the idea is that you have to find the rubles in the level. I think you can also bring them with you to unlock those exits, but I usually don't use those exits. It's good to be prepared for stuff like that, especially if you're hurt. Alright, so I'm coming back. You can note that my time is getting low here, so I get the red numbers in the top right telling me that time's running out. So over here, it's a shortcut. You have to have the key brought with you in order to get in here. There's a way to get out of there, which if I have time I will show you. Alright, to get through here you usually have to go through the gas station. Now I'm on the other side of the gas station. So to the best of my knowledge, this bunker is always open. It's the most obvious exit. It means that there will most likely be someone camping here. Not always. I've gotten out of here plenty of times without someone actually catching me. A lot of times, you know, the scavs don't come back here and people have their own things to do. But if someone wants to spawn camp, this is a good place to get you. So you just come up here and take an E. And that's custom. All right, we're going to go check out woods today. That's a little early in the morning for me. I'm going to go for 5:30 in the evening. Offline mode, so I can just show you what it looks like. And we get started. All right, so here I am in woods. I can tell by where my extraction points are, basically where I am. So if I come out over here, this is the lake over here, and this is the wall that I would go along. So most of my exits are going to be on the other side of this lake somewhere. The whole map is something like 600 meters long. There's a little bit of a fog today. Sometimes you can get a clear shot if you stand here and snipe. I'm going to talk about the wall in just a moment. This is the power station. The power station is a visual aid. It helps you understand where it's a POI, point of interest. It helps you understand if you see that, where that edge of the map is. This rock up here, this big mountain that's right in front of me, not the thing in the background. It's the out of bounds to the left. This one is, there'll be a scab up there sometimes. It's another point to help you orient yourself in the map. And this is the lumber yard directly in front of us over here. So we're going to talk about the wall for a second. As I go through here, these are usually weapon crates. Ignore these for now because we don't really need these. This is an extraction point over here that I think, yeah, it's not working for me right now, but you can extract over here. I think it's the RUAF roadblock. But you can see that this level, and most levels in Tarkov, are there's a solid wall around the edge where there's no way to get to the other side. You can't jump over it, nothing. It's an interesting way to do it. One of the reasons that it's useful is because you can use the wall just kind of like you would in a battle royale to know that no one's coming from that quadrant. So especially, you know, like if you're in that corner, you know that you've got a 45-degree field of view where you can see people coming. To counter that, they rarely have the wall in a good place where it's not open. Usually there's a clear line of sight for people that are walking around the wall. So you see there's not a whole lot of trees over here to give me cover. Now on the south side of the wall, which is this direction, the west wall turns into the south wall about down here. There is a lot of tree cover, and so you will tend to run up against scav players and PMCs running against that side of the wall. And all of the exits are somewhere along the wall as well. So if you're at night and you're lost, one of the easiest things to do in this game is just follow the wall, and eventually you'll get your bearings and figure out where you are. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about with the wall is that it's a hard wall, unlike a lot of battle royales. So as an example, in Call of Duty and some other battle royales, Warzone as an example, one of the new games, there isn't a hard wall. If you go out of bounds in any Call of Duty game, it gives you a warning that you've gone into the red zone, and it gives you like 3 to 5 seconds to get back into the game. In Warzone, in addition to the hard out of bounds, there's the soft out of bounds of the gas coming in. That gas comes in over time. If you get caught in it, you have to outrun it. You take damage over time. And as long as you don't die, you can stay inside of that gas. And so running on the edge of that gas and sometimes even falling into it is potentially a strategy, because you can get pot shots on other players who don't expect you to be coming from that direction. You can see the tank path over here. It's an important point along these power lines. just going to go ahead and take them. Normally, you would not just walk straight along this path like this because you're very, very exposed. So over here we've come to the lumber mill. There's usually a lot of action around here, so you'll both see scavs and players come to this area. There are 3 shacks back here where there's usually some good gear. Back here, so they're actually numbered 1, 2, and 3, and you can tell which one they are by the number on them. 3, 2, and 1. All right, so I'm going to take you back here, and we're going to go check out the cave. So here's the cave. It's a little hidden. As you come through here, like I said earlier, there's some questions about verticality, right? So you usually see a scav up there shooting down on you. Not always, but as you come through here, you kind of want to peek, and you got to make a choice about whether or not you're really looking high or low. And then you get this guy here. That's the cave. So this is a great little spot to snipe from, and you will very often see someone up here taking shots. So this little rock outcropping over here usually has some good gear behind it. You have to be careful though, because it's a great place for people to pick you off because they can hear you and they know what you're up to. So you got 2 crates over here. Another exit over here along the wall. So you can see up here, this area is called the Scav Shack. It's called that because there's usually scavs hunting around it. It is also an exit. It is not along the wall. It's not that hard to get to from the wall though. Alright, so we're going to be taking a look at the factory this time. I'm using my scav. I'm guessing another scav. Alright, I'm going to try to take a trip to reserve today. It's about 7 a.m. local time. The main point is just to show the outside of the map and some of the inside of the map. If I can hit some of the... Alright, so this is reserve. Playing in offline mode. So not unlike Interchange, you've got this outer edge, and then you come into the inner circle, which has highly populated by a bunch of buildings. This is one of the cool things about this map that I wanted to show you guys. In certain places it's got fixed positions. So you operate it. I think, yeah, it's got this weird pull chain thing that you've got to pull in. So I'm going to ADS. It kind of aims funky. And then go to it. Boom. Now presumably, while I am doing this, people snipe back at me. That's also got a very limited field. That's it. I'm out of juice. No more bullets. Doesn't look like there's any way. So one of the interesting things to note is that rain has started, and you can kind of hear it in the background. I'll let you listen to it for a second. So rain can do a little bit to obstruct your vision, but the clear thing that it does is that it reduces your ability to hear. So when you move, you make noise. If there's rain, it makes it harder for people to tell that you're moving around, sort of masked by that constant popping sound of rain. Store power generator. So this is an interesting exit where you have to turn on the generator in one place and then run to the medic door. Let's see where this takes us. Alright, so what I'm looking for is a building with a helicopter in the middle of these four buildings, and at the end of that there is a shack which will start the generator. Alright, there's our helicopter. So as soon as I do this, evidently I'm going to book it back over and find the hermetic door again. So I'm assuming somewhere in here. Oh, there we go. That seems to be it. Now, that starts some noise. Now, I've heard that if this were real, that would send some raiders out, so badass NPCs would start attacking you. Also, everyone else knows what I'm trying to do. everyone would be after me at this point. Alternately, looks like that little light is on, implying that that door's open. All right. 14 seconds to get out. That is reserve. Okay, the last one I want to show here is Shoreline. Alright, so here we are in Shoreline. Shoreline's interesting because it's got a mix of very wide open spaces and then a bunch of interior spaces as well. So in many ways it feels a lot like woods, but it's got some sections that feel like customs. And this being my first time in Shoreline, I have no idea where I am. I have no idea where the fence is. That's the other way. It really reminds me of DayZ. Is there's sort of a strand, main road along a ocean entrance. So this has got a little island area with a lighthouse out there. I think that's a lighthouse. Could be the island, the Scav Island. Let's go see. So if this were a populated level, there's no way to do this. It just looks like some sort of, oh yeah, barge, okay. Let's go check this out. So one of the things that I should note here as the rain starts is they've got these power lines that kind of go along the ground as sort of a POI. And even if you can't see the power line, the tower, you can still see the power lines. It was a big thing in DayZ that helped to orient yourself, that if you got lost, you could figure out where the power lines were, and those would get you to where you wanted to go. And that's actually how I got back on track here. It's just by following these guys. Wow, that's cool. This is something that a lot of the open levels have, is these little rivulets, which allow you to kind of peek up and then squat back down. Great for sudden battles. Okay, we're going to check out the labs here. Now, as mentioned before, with the labs, you cannot insure any of your items. You also cannot use your scav in the lab. No key card. Let's see. I have some sort of key card here. Is that what they want? Let's find out. Lab. Next. Offline. Next. Now I'm really hoping that I get to keep my key card since it's offline. So that's an interesting mechanic there. Lab is one of the harder places to get into, very rewarding as well. It looks like you also have to have a key card just to get in the first place. So there's a ticket that you have to earn just to get a chance to go into the lab. So death there looks like it's a lot more punishing than it is in other maps, because if you lose that key card, presumably you can't bring it back. Now, what I don't know is whether or not that key card gets punched for going in once, but that would be my guess, is that if I played it right now, even if I survived, I wouldn't be able to keep that key card again. So this is like the central area. There's a bunch of different places around here. One of them is called the kitchen, where people hang out. But evidently the center is very contested by folks. I have no idea what that does. Probably something bad. There's certain things you can do that let raiders in, and that may be one of them. Oh. Restore power to the elevators. One of those. Oh. Aha. Call the elevator. Wait for it. That's lab.